Bodybuilding fans from around the world, welcome to another special edition of The Fit Show, brought to you right here on bodybuilding.com. I'm Bob Ciccarello here in Woodland Hills, California, and we're going to bring you an inside look at the Weider office building. Come on with me. Afternoon, ladies.
Bob, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Bodybuilding.com and The Fit Show. We're here to see Mr. Peter McGough.
Go ahead, Bob.
Thanks a lot. Hey, what's up, Peter? How you doing?
Fine.
We all set up? Let's do it. Back home again, Peter. This is where it all happens.
I think so. I'm told so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Well, I don't know who you're told by because from what I see, you've been promoted lately.
Yes, they haven't found me out yet.
So what is your official capacity now, Peter?
Group editorial director,
And that's at both magazines.
3 magazines.
3 magazines.
Yeah, Flex, Muslim Fitness Hers.
So you didn't have enough going with 1 or 2. They actually threw a 3rd one in on you.
More magazines than General Custer.
Good stuff. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. I know you're very busy. But this is something I thought would be kind of cool for the viewers, is an inside look to the Weider Enterprises, because it's a very large, impressive building, as we've seen when I came in. And most people, even in the area, never get a chance to come in here and kind of see the day-to-day operations, how it works, and really how a magazine actually gets put together.
You're very welcome, Bob. I mean, obviously our friendship goes way back. You're the only person that I would allow to do this. Come inside and trust.
Always appreciate it.
But I must admit, anybody who visits the building for the first time is always pretty impressed by, the architecture, the statues. It really is the home of bodybuilding. Joe Weider made this the cradle of bodybuilding. It truly is. Yeah, and it's all Joe. I mean, Joe's got this real sense of history and art. That's why the statues are there. Joe's got a very artistic sense of bodybuilding rather than just a raw power image. He really sees it as an art form.
Sure. Speaking of Joe, obviously known to many as the father of bodybuilding, he actually put together the very first issue of Your Physique. Right. They really we're talking about literally the early 40s here. Yeah. They didn't really even have the term bodybuilding yet, did they?
Not really. Bodybuilding contests in those days were basically put on at the end of weightlifting contests. The bodybuilders had to wait around. They were like second-class citizens. Joe wanted to change that. His first magazine, Your Physique, he put it together for $7 in the front room of his parents' house. And then, he eventually sold the whole company for, $350 million or something. So it was not a bad little investment.
But you can see you got some older magazines in front of you now,
yeah.
And we can see kind of like through the ages how Muscle and Fitness and Muscle Power, Muscle Builder, Muscle and Fitness is all the same magazine. It's undergone many changes throughout the years, obviously. If you could just show a few of these, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, Your Physique was the first one. This is an issue of Muscle Power from 1948. You can see the physiques are much more different than they are now.
And a lot of the weight equipment ads, I should say, back then were from Weider. Didn't he start to get into selling weight equipment and Weider barbell and all that?
Yeah, that was the second wing of the empire. Publishing came first, then the barbells and everything, and then supplements. He was a forerunner in sports supplements. But you can see the physiques are different, the names are different. But the seed that drove these readers is the same seed that drives the modern breeder.
Here's a guy some people may recognize on the cover. This is probably from, I'd say, the late 60s, 69, 70?
September 69, Arnold.
There, I know my history.
So he'd been here a year or so.
There's a guy named Arnold Schwarzenegger that would have gone on to a few titles in his day.
Yeah.
Peter, let me ask you this. I got a couple of questions myself, even though I'm a bodybuilding historian. There's still a few questions I don't even know. One thing I do know is way back in the day, there was multiple Mr. Universe winners, as much as 4 or even 5 from NABA, and the IFBB then had one, and the AAU had one, and the WBBG had one with Dan Lurie and that whole business. When was the Mr. Olympia created, and how did that come to be?
The first Mr. Olympia was 1965. There was 2 reasons. One, yes, it was to decide who actually was the best bodybuilder in the world from all these different universe titles. But also, titles like Mr. America you could never defend it. And basically, it sort of, the fulcrum for it was Larry Scott. He felt he had nowhere else to go. He'd won the Mr. America, Mr. Universe. Sitting down with Joe in a restaurant one night, Joe decided that he needed an ultimate championship. So the Mr. Olympia was born. And in fact, they didn't have that title as they went into the meeting, but they were drinking Olympia beer. This is very true, you know.
Come on.
And that's how the title came up. And I always think what would have been happened if they'd have been drinking Schlitz Ale. You know, we'd have a different title altogether.
Yeah, it's amazing. He could have been the Mr. Budweiser, or I don't even know what beers were around back then. But so literally, I mean, all joking aside, the Olympia title was literally gotten off the side of a beer can.
Yeah. Whatever that beer can was, that was the contest. I don't think not that straightforward. The Olympia obviously fitted the ideal, but it was just maybe an omen. Yeah.
Very cool. And thus the Olympia was born, and obviously Larry Scott would go on to win the first two.
Yeah.
Peter, I know we talked a little bit about the changes that the magazine has undergone throughout the years. I notice you have an extensive collection here with every Flex magazine that's ever been printed, muscle and fitness all throughout the years. And I notice it's gone under a name change over all the years. It started out as Your Physique, as we spoke about. At some point, Joe changed it to Muscle Power. Then it was Muscle Builder Power.
Right.
Then it was just Muscle. Yeah. And then finally you got to Muscle and Fitness.
Yeah.
But you can see how the magazine has gone from being in 20 pages to...
This is 1948, Muscle Power. Obviously the physiques were different, the look was different, the way it was portrayed. Then we jumped through to the 70s, you know, we got Franco here on the cover. This was when it was called Muscle Builder Power. The fitness boom generally, health trends started to kick in the late 70s. Joe suddenly dropped Builder Power and just used Muscle because he had something up his sleeve that he was ready to unleash on the world. And that was in the summer of 1980. Muscle and Fitness came to be born. And this had bodybuilding, fitness, health, and that sort of stuff in it.
And not too coincidentally, that's when the ladies, of course, started.
Yeah.
With the 1980 Miss Olympia.
Right.
And like I said, women's physique competition started popping up all over the place.
Yeah. And Muscle and Fitness really took off. I mean, it was mainstream. He was Publisher of the Year in 1982, I believe. But Joe felt that as Muscle and Fitness got more into fitness and mainstream, the bodybuilders were being left out a little bit. So that's why in 1983, he started Flex. And that became the Hardcore Bible. And that's the way it's remained ever
And that's
since.
the very first Flex magazine cover. This is a compilation of all the Flex magazines from 1983.
Yeah, this is the full volume of 1983 issues. So this was the very first. In April 1983, Chris Dickerson had just won the Olympia in 1982. He was the first cover man of Flex. So
what's funny is I remember actually buying these. That's when I had already been into bodybuilding since '79, so I was an avid collector of bodybuilding magazines. But I have almost all those Flex magazines. Right. One of which in there has Sean Ray on the cover as a teenager.
Yeah, with Rhea Johnson.
Yes, that's right.
The teen issue. Yeah.
Peter, it's great to see the changes over the years that the magazine has undergone. One thing I've always wanted to know, and I'm sure the viewers would too, is how does it actually get from in this office to on the stands? I mean, what is the process that it has to go through with getting articles in there, and who makes the decisions, and how is it actually laid out?
I don't know. That's me.
There it is. See?
I just
you heard it from the
look
top.
pretty. No, I'll show you. Why don't we take a walk around and we'll go into the art rooms and meet some of the people that put the magazine together.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, great.
All right.
Okay, Bob, this is the Weider photo library. You've been in here. This is only the tip of the iceberg. This is on site. We've got another storage area which is about 10 times bigger than this, with all the photographs that have ever been used in the Weider publications. It's an Aladdin's cave. It's priceless. Everything's filed away. If we go down here, you know, we've got all the current male bodybuilding shots. You know, we look at the names here. A guy here called Bob Ciccarello.
Oh, wow. Hey, look at that.
What happened to him?
Now we're talking.
Yeah. You know, right next to Ronnie Coleman, look.
As it should be.
Oh, wow.
See that?
You know, other guys in
Alphabetical
here.
order, of course.
Mark Dugdale.
You can see this is literally a who's who of bodybuilding. Like you said, this is about 1/10. This is just what's here.
What we might use in current issues, you know, for the more vintage stuff, we've got a great big place.
And here's you can just see the letters here, and this is just alphabetical. But here's Fuchs, here's Vinny Galante. Here's Cuba Gooding Jr. We even got him in here.
Yeah. What, you wanna see
LQ
that?
Gurley, there's a name from the past.
Yeah.
There's Dennis Newman, Jamo Nazar. Some of these guys are retired, but you can see just name upon name and photo upon photo. Whose photos are these? Are these all Chris Lund photos? Or are these a combination of everybody?
Mostly Chris Lund, but a combination of, other photographers. Obviously, Chris Lund is a real mainstay of Flex. He's synonymous with Flex. He made Flex what it
Sure.
is photographically. So
this is where it all begins, is actually just picking out photos of obviously, or somebody may have done a particular shoot. Let's say you wanted a Ronnie Coleman arm training article.
Yeah.
So Chris would have shot Ronnie training arms. Photos come here to the library, and then you select the photos out.
Yeah, we know that going into a Ronnie Coleman shoot, we'd pick the parts to shoot, say it's back or something. We'd assign a writer to interview him on his back training.
Sure.
The writer would have the shots in front of him when he talked to Ronnie so that he knew the grips and different variations and everything.
Sure. Where does it go from here, Peter?
Well, we should go to the art room.
The art room.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the art room.
Okay, this is a Flex art room.
Flex art room, you got it.
Hi, ladies. It's Kim and Kiwan
hello,
here
girls.
at the moment.
Hey, hi.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
How are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Where's my article? I don't see myself up here.
Oh, we're working on that after hours.
Working
it's a
on that
secret event. Yeah, it's
and-
special. It's not like anybody's
An issue
article.
without Bob? How can it be? Blasphemy.
It's okay.
So this is an upcoming issue, September issue.
Look at that.
£200, I believe. For real.
Jeez, Johnny's only 200 pounds, sir? I mean, he looks a lot heavier. How about that?
That's the end.
Very cool.
Thank you.
So the whole layout gets put in here. And then obviously I see on the wall we got a whole system of, is that the whole magazine now laid out?
That's
Yes.
that's the issue that we're just finishing.
Except the cover.
Except for the cover, which
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm on, so they can't disclose that yet.
So you see Johnny fits into there, so we lay it out
Look at that.
the way it is.
You can see from, there's a shot of Don Long right there, right in the middle.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So we got Jay Cutler's arm routine.
I see
As
some
you can
stuff for
see, you could never look at this and say it's not a bodybuilding magazine.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Here's see an upcoming feature coming out, Mike Matarazzo.
Yeah.
I see that. Now now the writer's actually here in the building.
Yes.
Maybe our own Sean Perrine is busy at work. Let's go take a look.
Yes. Well, let's do that.
Let's do it. To the bat poles. Thank you, ladies.
So, this is Sean Perrine, senior writer. Flex, great writer.
There he is.
Hello.
This is a good time to get him.
Mr. Perrine, good to see you again, sir.
Wonderful as
Welcome,
always.
welcome back.
Thank you.
I see they moved your cubicle.
Yeah.
They sure have.
Very
We're,
nice.
we're moving it even further. We're moving it to New Mexico next week, but he doesn't know yet. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, one of the best Flex magazine has to offer, Sean Perrine. This is where all the magic happens. Sean, we're taking a tour through the Weider offices here and seeing just how the magazine is put together. So we went through the library, went through the editing room, and of course I had the golden question for Peter. Who does all the writing? Yeah.
Yeah, I do a little bit of it.
Very
I can't
cool.
take credit for all of it, but a little bit of it happens right here in this messy cubicle.
Sean, I know you're a collector of bodybuilding memorabilia. You also run the Iron Age site. A little shameless plug there. For anybody who's into old-time bodybuilding, the golden era of bodybuilding. IronAge.us. But you can see over here, if we can pan around, you can see some of Sean's collections, and he's got all kinds of stuff. And you can see here's bodybuilding and self-defense. This is just here's my favorite. Dynamic Tension, the old Charles Atlas courses.
This is the first bodybuilding magazine I ever owned. My dad bought it for me. It's the September '79 issue.
Look at that.
It's Muscle Builder Power. I was 13 at the time, and when my dad got back into the car and handed it to me, it was like my world opened up. I'm like, this is bodybuilding. This is real. I could do this. Robbie Robinson, of course, on the cover. He was my hero because of it. And
Oh yeah, sure. It's funny you mention that because I was just telling Peter when we were going through the eras of magazines that this was also my favorite. As me and you got into bodybuilding about the same time, but it was this issue, all these issues with basically the busts, the headshots on them.
Yes.
Frank Zane had one. Ferrigno had one where you had the kind of the Hulk in the background.
That's right. And of course, the Joe Weider statue.
The Joe Weider
bust. I mean,
statue shot that everybody's grown accustomed to. But these are great.
So this,
Well, seriously, Sean, I appreciate all your work you do, and you guys see it right here. Again, what Sean, one of the best writers that Flex Magazine has to offer, and it all goes on right here, right with Homer Simpson and Apu overseeing the production.
guardian angels.
And really, you know, Sean personifies the flex philosophy, the muscle philosophy. You know, somebody who, as a kid, got into it and he made his hobby into a career. He's a fabulous writer. He's a fabulous addition to this team. And, you know, that's what we breed, guys, that, you know, it's in the heart. It's not just a job. It's more than a job.
Sure.
It's amazing.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Shawno,
Thanks,
we'll see you in the
Bobo.
gym tonight.
Absolutely.
I'm sure. All right, Peter, what's next?
Let's go and pester somebody else.
You got it.
Yeah. Bob, so we're going to see Chris Hobrecker now. He's the creative director for Muscle and Fitness, and Flex Magazine. Does a great job for us.
You got it.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, there's Chris.
Bob,
How are you, buddy?
Good.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Always good.
So, what we're working on, we've got to get this cover finished.
Yeah, flex cover.
So let's just explain to them these marks you've made. What are you telling them?
All right, the image has already been pretty much composed together. There's just a couple last-minute color changes that we need to make to him. There's a tanning issue that he's got along his hairline. There's a little bit red in the chest, so we're going to take some of that out. We need to add some color to the shadows in his shorts just to make them pop a little bit and match the skin tones a bit better. And we're going to add just a little bit of shadow into the blacks of the arm just to build that up so it pops a little bit stronger since it's an arm article.
Right.
And then we make adjustments to this image just to match the skin tones, just in general make the two photos look like they were.
Oh, you don't have to touch that image, Chris. I think
Just so it pops a little
I think
bit.
Miss Pomponio Pate's looking just fine, all on her own. Very few notes for her.
She's popping.
She's popping, yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. So we got the new cover of Flex Magazine, and this is the cover for the storyboards that we just saw on the other side over here.
September issue. Yeah.
September issue. So you guys will be seeing that coming up very soon. Again, you wouldn't think so much work goes into a cover. You think you just snap a picture, you know, and you throw the words over that. But as we can see by these notes here that you've written, there's a lot that goes into it.
And that's the final process. I mean, we start with upwards of 10 photos. Sometimes we'll narrow it down to 2 or 3. We'll mock up 2 covers. We have to send them for tests. The focus group decides which one they want
really?
for that.
So there is a lot more involved in.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I know what you go through, but you actually have focus groups that actually will look at a series of pictures that you send and pick out their favorite.
Yeah.
We don't always go with it. It's just a guide for us. If, you know,
Sure.
to spot a real clunker. If something scores real low, we think, well, there's something wrong here. It's just another filter.
Does it ever come back that it's completely different than what you guys would have picked?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
And well, I mean, we have to be jaded somewhat in the industry that we're all in bodybuilding. We've been in bodybuilding for years. We tend to look at things differently than, you know, let's say people on the outside, you know, who really don't have much to do with the industry itself.
Well, we just make sure that we put up 2 covers that we both really like too. So,
Yeah, it's kind of foolproof that whole process there. See that?
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, you can't lose either way.
There's always one that we prefer too.
Sure.
So.
And another thing, we never Photoshop the bodies on the cover.
And that's a question that comes up a lot.
Tinker with the colour and stuff. but-
Sure. That's a question that comes up a lot because people do see pictures of various people and they wonder if there's a lot of photoshopping that goes on. I mean, anybody that's gone out there and you can see a cover of a Cosmopolitan or you know People magazine or any of these, and they're blatantly photoshopped, or you know everybody's got perfect skin and there's not a wrinkle to be found. So none of these are photoshopped, just color contrast and
We'll fix the colors and we will fix skin imperfections and things
Sure.
like that, but we don't do massive
We don't
Gotcha.
distort.
changes to them to just.
you're not cutting, making a thigh look bigger or morphing a picture as you would.
No, that's the real Jay Cutler.
That's him.
Well,
That's
Jay
him.
looks like he's morphed anyways, so you know that's very good. Chris, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you letting us in your backyard here and
Sure.
see a little behind the scenes.
Okay, Bob. So you've had a quick guide to you know how we put the magazine together. You've seen the next issue, the next cover. You know, there's certain processes after that of toing and froing. We have some other checks in there for quality. But basically, after that, the next thing we see is the finished magazine. You know, put together by a team which believes in the product. It's out there on the shelves.
Sure.
The great thing about this business is you can see what you've done for that month. It's visible. It's not nebulous. It's there. It'll either sell well or it won't sell so well.
Now, how often, or how early, I should ask, do you actually get any return feedback? Is there a number system that you have? I know Flex actually volunteers to have their numbers actually brought back to them.
Yeah, we're the only magazine in this category that announces our sales figures. Internally, once a magazine goes on the shelf, we get the first return on how it's doing after about 10 or 12 days. That figure has got a differential of maybe 3% one way or 3% the other. So it's pretty much, we know pretty quickly whether it's going to be great or it's just going to be an average.
What seems to dictate in your experience over the years what makes a great issue rather than one that just sells okay?
You can never tell. I've sent issues out which I thought were absolutely had something different about them, a cover different about it, didn't do so well. I'll tell you a story. There was an issue in '98. We got it back. It'd been printed abysmally. It was awful. It was a black and white cover. It was dirty. It was dingy. We were always asking for a reprint, and it was one of the best sellers of the year. So you can never tell.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Peter, your job doesn't end when the magazine comes out. Obviously, it's an ongoing process with magazines that are in transition, that are on the boards now, as we've seen, and then obviously the issue after that, which you're already working on. But I noticed actually when you get them back, I noticed that when your own personal copies, you have it tabbed. So I noticed you have different things that you look at even after it comes out.
Yeah, things that are maybe not, that didn't work. Maybe the colour was wrong. Maybe we should have come with a different title. Things that we can discuss afterwards and say, how can we improve this? You must hold a post-mortem. You must look at it. Don't just put it away. You can always learn. If you stop learning, then you're going to go backwards.
True in bodybuilding and true in putting out a magazine as well.
Absolutely.
Very good. Peter, I thank you a lot for your time and
It's been a pleasure.
inside look here at the Weider offices and how Flex and Muscle and Fitness gets put out, and a little bit of bodybuilding history there, which I always enjoy.
Great. And if you've heard we're for sale, that's correct. $5.99 to you.
Ooh, look at that, $5.99. You got change for a 10?